Hello and welcome to this demo video. In this video, I'll show you how to work with this 3D character model named Gali directly inside of Clip Studio Paint. Part 1, setting up the body, head, and hair. To start, you first need to decide which body type to use. Then drag and drop that body onto your canvas. When I'm working with poses, especially in the very beginning, I always disable cast shadows. This doesn't really matter since you can always enable this back later after you're done posing. Also, when you're working with my 3D characters, I recommend you always enable the lighting by activating Apply Light Source. Most of my models will have flat colors, and they'll look terrible without proper lighting in the scene. Next, you need to decide which head design to use, then drag and drop that head onto your canvas. For now, I only have one head model available, but I plan on adding more in the future. Let's also disable the shadow on this head. And now, we're ready to parent the head model to the body model. To do this, access the Subtool Detail palette by clicking on this wrench icon. Inside the Subtool Detail palette, go to the Object List tab. Here, you need to drag and drop the head model onto the body model. For the attachment point, set it to the head. Do the same with the hair. Drag and drop the hairstyle that you want to use. As always, I'm disabling shadows for now. Then drag and drop the hair model to the body model and set its attachment point to the head also. And that's it. What I also love to do here is always enable the second latting and position that lat to the back of the character. The head and hair model are now properly parented to the body model. Part 2, proper way to pose the head. Before we begin, let me create one more camera for my scene shot. And rename this camera to Navigation. My scene shot camera will be for capturing the final scene, while I'll use my navigation camera purely for moving around the scene. So I'm locking my scene shot camera now to prevent accidentally moving it. And I'll make sure to be on my navigation camera when navigating. To start, let's zoom in on the head. Now, to pose the head more properly, you need to be in the body model for this. Because if you try to pose the head model itself, you'll face issues like this. The cut part on the neck is exposed, and the hair isn't following the head at all. To prevent the head and hair models from being accidentally selected and moved, you can disable their ability to be selected by clicking on these boxes here. Now, to pose the head more properly, you need to select this cut part on the neck and pose it like this. This is how it should be, and it looks more natural this way. The cut part on the neck is no longer exposed, and the hair model is now following the head model perfectly. To show you exactly where this is, it's this cut part on the neck here that you need to select and pose. And that's it. Part 3, accessing the preset list for face and hair expressions. To demonstrate this, first, let's zoom in on the head. Now, to access the preset list for face expressions, you need to select the head model for this. The presets should be found under the Layout preset section. You can also access the Layout preset here, but I find it easier to just access it through the Subtool Detail palette because the list doesn't interfere with my scene view here. You have a total of 40 face expressions to start with, and these are all fully posable. This means you are free to make small adjustments to each of these face expressions. To make an adjustment on any of these face expressions, you first need to make the head model selectable again. This way, you'll be able to select parts of the face that you want to adjust. Like dropping the jaw a little bit here. Now, to access the preset list for hair expressions, it's the same process. You need to select the hair model for this, and it should also be found under the Layout preset. To make small adjustments to these hair expressions, you also need to make sure that the hair model is selectable again. I have also included a preset list under the movable parts section. The list of face expressions here is the same as the ones you find under the layout preset. But what's good about these movable parts is it lets you access the in-between expressions for each face expression. Something like that. Please keep in mind that if you decide to play with these movable parts here, you need to do this first before you make any small manual adjustments on your face expression. You could definitely lose any manual adjustments you made on the face expression if you decide to play with this after. There's also a similar list for the hair model. To access this list, you also need to select the hair model first. And here they are. As always, you need to play with this first before making manual adjustments to the hair expression. And that's it. Part 4, Posing Gali in Real Time. In this last part, I'll show you how I pose Gali in real time while applying all the techniques I've discussed in the previous parts of this video. My goal here is to give you a practical example of a better workflow when working with this 3D character. So here I am, done with parenting the head and hair model to the body model. Then I adjusted my lighting and added another light at the back. Here, I added one more camera, one for my scene shot, and one for navigating around my scene. Then it's posing time. And here I am now disabling the selectability of the head and hair models. What I recommend here is that you always disable the selectability of the head and hair models, especially when you're posing an entire body. For the head model, you should only enable this back when you're about to make small manual adjustments on the face expression. This is the same for the hair model, because this is the only time you would need to select specific parts of the model that you want to adjust. Other than that, you should leave them disabled all the time. This way, you'll prevent yourself from accidentally moving them around unexpectedly. Here, I forgot to mention that you can also rename these parts to whatever you want. Longer names can definitely be hard to read and sometimes confuse you. Here, I'm now trying to find a good angle for my scene shot camera. Then I locked it back. This is to prevent myself from accidentally moving this camera around. Then I switched back to my navigation camera and continued with posing. And here I enabled the selectability of the head. And here I mirrored the pose on his arms only. Here, I switch back again to my scene shot camera to take a look at my scene. Here, I'm now trying to find a good angle for my scene shot camera. And here I am now playing with manga perspective, almost done with the posing. And one final adjustment on the face expression. And that's it. This concludes this demo, and thank you again for watching.